It was the moment that shattered everything I thought I knew about love. 6 years. That's how long I had built a life with her. A life full of promises, laughter, and those little moments that made me think we had something unbreakable. But when she finally said the words, "I've been waiting for the right time to leave," I knew nothing would ever be the same again. You've ever been blindsided, felt betrayed, or had your heart torn apart by someone you trusted? Hit that subscribe button. You need to hear this story. We met at a time when I was a mess, caught up in work, barely keeping my head above water. But she, with her energy and laughter like sunlight breaking through a storm, made everything feel possible. We stayed up late talking about our dreams, our favorite songs, and what we wanted out of life. She was different than anyone I had ever met, someone who made me believe in love again. I honestly thought I had found my soulmate. Things moved quickly, as they often do when everything feels right. We moved in together after a few months. I remember thinking, this is it. We were making a life together, and it felt like we were building something real, something worth holding on to. Our apartment became our little world. We filled it with memories, laughter, quiet nights, shared meals, and plans for the future. It felt like nothing could go wrong. But then, slowly, little things began to change. At first, it was barely noticeable. The spontaneous date nights we used to have started turning into nothing more than tired, forced conversations. The texts, those sweet, funny messages that used to flood my phone, became fewer and farther between, replaced by one-word answers. I kept telling myself it wasn't a big deal. She's just stressed. Maybe we're both just busy right now. I brushed it off, convincing myself that every relationship had its ups and downs. But deep down, I knew something was off. I just didn't want to admit it. It started with her new friend, a guy from work. She talked about him a lot at first. I didn't think much of it. She was friendly, outgoing. It wasn't unusual for her to make new friends. But then, I started noticing more. The texts at odd hours. The way she'd smile when his name popped up on her phone. The way she'd light up when she talked about him. I tried to push it out of my mind. She's just friendly. It's nothing. But one night, I came home to an empty apartment. No dinner waiting, no music playing softly in the background. Just silence. That's when it hit me. I haven't seen her in hours. Where is she? She came home late, as usual, her face pale and distant. She gave me a half-hearted smile, but something in her eyes had changed. That was the moment I knew. I didn't want to face it, but I had to ask, is there someone else? She froze. Her eyes locked on mine, and for a few seconds, everything felt suspended in time. I've been waiting for the right time to leave. It felt like I'd been hit by a truck. Those words hit harder than anything I could have ever prepared myself for. All the love, all the promises, all the moments we shared, it didn't matter. She had already checked out. She'd been planning this for months. What about everything we've shared? What about us? I asked, my voice shaking. Her answer was the last thing I ever expected. It wasn't real. At least, not for me. I didn't know what to say to that. My heart dropped to my stomach. 6 years of what I thought was a shared life, and she was telling me it was all just a lie. She wasn't even sorry. She didn't seem to care, but it didn't end there. As she started packing her things, I found her phone, forgotten on the kitchen counter. I didn't want to snoop, but something inside me told me I had to know the truth. I unlocked her phone, and there it was. The texts, the messages with him. It was all laid out in black and white. She had been seeing him for months, talking to him, planning to leave, making plans behind my back. She had been living a double life, and I had no idea. I wasn't just the one she was leaving, I was the last one to know. I felt like such an idiot. Not because I didn't see the signs, but because I trusted her with everything. I believed in the life we were building. But in the end, she had already made her decision. She left that night, packed her things, walked out the door, and never came back. No goodbyes, no closure, just a hollow emptiness where love used to be. For days, I was numb. I couldn't think straight. My mind kept racing, asking the same questions over and over. How could she do this? How could she betray me like this after all this time? But then, slowly, something started to shift. The anger, the sadness, it all started to fade. I realized I wasn't going to let her define who I was or who I was becoming. It took months, but I learned how to trust myself again. I learned how to be okay on my own, to rebuild my life from the pieces she left behind. It wasn't easy. I still had moments of doubt, moments when I wondered if I'd ever truly heal. But through it all, I started to understand something important. The one thing she couldn't take from me was my ability to rise above. I wasn't defined by her betrayal. I was defined by how I chose to move forward. So if you're watching this right now, and you've been hurt, betrayed by someone you loved and trusted, know this: you can rebuild. It might not be easy, it might take time, but you will find your way again. You will be stronger for it. Hit that subscribe button because there's always more to the story than meets the eye. And you never know, the next one might just help you find the strength to heal too.